Hello, class. Greetings. I'm Professor Watson, and this is LGLA 1351 contracts. If you are watching this video, then it means that you have opted to take this class on an internet-based format. That means that for most of our communications, we're going to be relying on these pre-recorded lectures. That doesn't mean that I won't be around for office hours or for telephone calls or for email anytime you need it. But it does mean that we're going to have to rely on these kind of recorded lectures because that's what you've chosen to do. This is the first lecture for, again, LGLA 1351 contracts. And I'm excited that you're here today. I'm excited about this class. I mean that seriously. I know most of you are probably taking contracts simply because you have to. It's required for your degree program, or maybe you're dabbling to see if you like legal courses. Either way, I think it's a terrific idea. I think it's a terrific choice. Law is so important to everyone. It's how we manage society. It's how we live and how we work together. And really, contracts is the beginning of law. It's the fundamental basis of our law. In fact, if you think of law generally, our law generally is a giant social contract, right? We have a contract. If you agree not to kill me, then I agree not to kill you. If you agree not to steal from me, then I agree not to steal from you. And if one of us breaches that contract, then there's consequences, right? So you're involved in contracts literally every single day. Contracts are as old as human history. If you think of the Christian Bible, right? We have the Old and the New Testament, or sometimes called the Old and the New Covenant, right? And what is a covenant? A covenant is an agreement or a contract, right? You can look at the Bible or the Torah or the Quran. And they all have creation stories, right? That talk about the agreement between Adam and Eve and God. I will be your God. I'll take care of you. In exchange, you'll follow the rules and you'll worship me, right? If you do certain things, then I'll do certain things. And if you breach it, then there's consequences. That's a contract, right? You don't have to be a religious scholar. You don't even have to be a believer. The point of all of this is really that contracts have been around for a very, very long time, right? Anytime we have two people living together, inevitably they are going to enter into agreements, and those agreements are contracts. And that's what we're going to be learning about this semester. Um, Contracts are really they're how we regulate our relationships with others. When you get married, you enter into a marriage contract, right? What we think about more commonly, and obviously what we'll talk about more in this class, is things like how do we conduct our business? How do we buy a house or buy a car or buy a business or even get a haircut or buy a hamburger at McDonald's, right? Those are all contracts. And so you enter into contracts every single day. They are, again, the foundation of our law. So I really am excited about this class, and I'm glad you're here. And I really do think it's a terrific idea because whether you complete this program and become a paralegal, whether you go on to law school, whether you quit this program and you become a successful business person, right? Or even if you decide this is not for you and you never work again, you become a successful, housewife or house husband, you are still going to be involved in contracts almost every single day of your life, whether you know it or not. And so I think this course will be a great start for you, whether you're interested in continuing with the law or whether you just want to be a member of our society. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, this is apparently you're taking the internet version of this course. And so finding these videos, engaging with our content is going to be very important. If you have found this video, then I assume you have found our show on eCampus. But let's go over a little bit of an introduction today. Let me just kind of get into the syllabus and who I am and what I expect of you this semester. And then we'll stop there. Okay. We'll have this is just week one. People are coming in and out. And so this is still early stages. So let's just have a little bit of an introduction. And then I'll record a second video for this week 1 on the introduction from your book. Okay. But in order for you to find those, you need to learn to navigate our course shell on eCampus. All right. Let me see if I can share my screen with you, and we'll just walk through a few of those things, and then we'll be done, at least for this first video. Okay. Let me see if I can share my screen here. All right. So there, I hope you can all see that now. If you are looking at my screen, you've probably been here before. This is just the Dallas College main page, right? And you probably understand that to get to your materials, you're going to click here on eCampus. Once you click eCampus, access my courses now, you'll have to put a password and that kind of stuff. I'm obviously already logged in, so I got to skip that. But once you get through the password and that authentication process, you're going to see your courses, right? Here's the 3 that I'm teaching this semester. If you have more or less, you'll see more or less. But our class, this recorded class, is LGLA 1351, and your particular course section is 52701, right? So if you click on that one, it should lead you to our course homepage that should look something like this. Okay. Now, if this is new to you, then I feel your pain. If you're an expert at this, then maybe call me, because I could use a little help. This is only the second semester that we're using this new Brightspace learning materials system. We were using Blackboard before. So if it's a little hard for you, I understand. If you see some things that are a little out of whack, please let me know and I'll get it fixed. We're all learning this together. Okay. But anyway, if you jump to our course section, it is organized, at least on the front page, with a couple of things. Number 1, you'll have these widgets, is what they call them. But these are our kind of our folders on the left side, and you'll see announcements on the right. The announcements are important. The announcements don't always automatically email you. When I put an announcement there, I try to remember to copy it over and email it to all of you. But it is your responsibility to check eCampus regularly to check for announcements, okay? That's where information is going to come up. So those announcements will always be here on the right side, with, of course, the latest one at the top. But your materials will primarily be over here in these file folders and these widgets on the left. The first one you need to know is this learning materials widget. Unless you opted out, then your learning materials are included with your tuition. That means you don't have to go out and buy a book. In fact, you actually have a quiz this week, and you may want to remember that. You do not have to go out and buy your book, okay? If you click here, the learning materials should pop up. And if you click right here, your included ebook, then that should pop you straight to your virtual bookshelf. And when they get it fixed, your book should appear right here. I'll check on that and see why it's not showing up on my bookshelf. But for you, you should see a book here called Practical Contract Law for Paralegals. That's the 4th edition. The author is Laurel A. Weitzen. And it should be in your virtual bookshelf. I don't know why it's not in mine. All right, going back to our main page, the easiest way to get there I found is just to click on the name again, but that'll get you back here. The next thing you want to look at is the syllabus, right? Everybody wants to see the syllabus. If you click on syllabus, the first thing you'll see is yours may look a little bit different. I've got an extra one here that should be hidden from you. You should just have syllabus and calendar. If you click on syllabus, great. That'll give you all kind of the standard boilerplate stuff that the school wants to put in there. More useful to you will probably, though, be this semester calendar. If you click here first, you're going to see what we're doing kind of week by week. I know that doesn't have any actual dates on it. That's more week by week. But you can take a look at what we're doing for the entire semester right there. If you actually want to see the actual dates, then click on the Spring 24 contract dates right there. That'll pull up two different things, and you can page down to see the whole. But first, you'll have a calendar format, right? And it shows you, here we are, our first week. We're going to do our introduction. And if you look on Saturdays, in the Saturdays, I always have listed what assignments are due for the week. Why? Because generally your assignments for the week will be due by midnight on Saturday. Okay, I know everybody likes to have them on Sundays, but some of my classes are on Monday. Sometimes this class is taught on Monday. And I find that if having it done by Saturday, then I have time to grade it and get it to you before class starts on Monday. As this is an internet course, some of you may be chomping at the bit to start your classes Monday. So Sunday gives me time to grade it, okay? So generally, your assignments will be due Monday. And if you look at this first week, we have a syllabus acknowledgement form and a syllabus quiz due, right? Don't get too worried about that yet. I don't go write mean reviews about how I'm the professor who gave assignments on the first week. These are actually very easy. And the real point is for me to learn a little bit about you, for you to get a chance to pad your grades with a few easy points starting out, but also for us to test out the system. That course acknowledgement form makes sure that you know how to submit written materials. And make sure that I can see it when you submit it. Make sure that I can grade it, and then you can see the grade when it goes back. Same thing for the quiz. The quizzes are a little bit easier. But make sure that you know how to find a quiz, how to take a quiz, how to submit a quiz, that I can see that the grades go in the right place. Okay, so you do have a syllabus acknowledgement form, which we will talk about is not a contract later in the semester. Lots of your professors give you those. Do they really mean anything? Maybe we'll talk about this semester, but also that quiz. So take them, get the extra, get the easy points. Start out with an A+ in this class will be great. But then you'll see next week we're going to do chapter 1. You'll have a chapter 1 quiz and a memo. The next week we'll do chapter 2. You'll have a quiz and a memo. Week 4 we're going to do chapter 3. You'll have a quiz and a memo and your first case brief. We're going to have 2 case briefs this semester. Learning to write, learning to process cases, learning to think like a lawyer is an important part of this and all of your classes here. And so we're going to try to work in at least 2 case briefs this semester. Don't get too uptight. I know this is not your advanced legal research and writing class. I'm not going to hold you to that kind of that level of performance. But anyway, you'll be able to see in a calendar form everything we're doing this semester. Let me point out one thing that's different on this. On this calendar, you'll see that I have your midterm being after spring break. Your spring break is that second full week in March. And I have on this calendar view the midterm as the week after spring break. And chapter 8 being the week before spring break. I think we're actually going to switch that around. Let's try to do your midterm before spring break so that you can get it knocked out and then not have to worry about it all over spring break. And then after spring break, you can come back refreshed and ready to start over. You don't have that hanging over your head, okay? If you will scroll down, though, after the calendar, you will see a list of dates here, a list of dates with a list of the assignments for each date and when they're due and how many points they are, right? Everything is right there, so you can add up everything you've got to do this semester, when it's due, how much it's all going to be worth, how much the total is, and you can plan your semester out starting from the beginning. In fact, if you look at this list version, you'll see that I've got the midterm here before spring break. I think that's the way we're going to do it. I'll try to get that calendar fixed for you, okay? But anyway, that's under semester calendar. That's under your syllabus. If that helps you, great, take a look there. If you need my contact information, right, there's a widget down here at the bottom that has the professor's profile. My name is Timon Jeremy Watson. I usually go by Jeremy because when you're in kindergarten, Timon is weird. And so I've been Jeremy my whole life. But if you see on your schedule or something like that, or you get a grade or an email from a Timon Watson, blame it on the system, but that's still me, okay? You've got my email address there. It's timon.watson@dallascollege.edu. But let me give you another email address, okay? Do you have a pen? Write this down. They don't like me to put it on the website, and they don't like me to even create a forwarder so that your emails automatically come. But I do have an office email address. My office email address is Jeremy, that's Jeremy, at tjeremywatson.com. Okay, T is just my first initial, Timon, right? So Jeremy at tjeremywatson.com. All one word, no periods, no spaces, no underscores, just Jeremy at tjeremywatson.com. Now, let me be real clear. the official policy of the college is that we are not supposed to use anything but our official email. And so I'm certainly not encouraging you to use my office email address. I'm just saying that my office email address comes directly to my office instantly. If you email my Dallas College email address, then I have to go check that. They make it very difficult to log in, and I try to check it at least once a day, but I'm not always as prompt. So the university will tell you that you should definitely not use my Jeremy@tjeremywatson email address. And if you do, you're breaking the rules. And so I'm certainly not encouraging you to do that. But if you choose to use my office email address that you just wrote down, please understand that while it's breaking the rules, I'm not going to penalize anyone for doing that. Okay. You also have my phone number there. Feel free to call or text me anytime. If I don't answer, leave a voicemail or send me a text. Tell me who you are, what it's about, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But I'm an adjunct this semester, and so I don't have a specific office or specific office hours right now, but I love to talk to students. So please, please, please feel free to email me. Feel free to call me. Feel free to text me when you have questions. I will try to get back to you as quickly as I can. If we need to, email or text me, and we can schedule a time when we can meet one-on-one over the phone or by Zoom or however to make sure that you're getting the material, that you're mastering the material and getting what you need. Okay, so that's down at the bottom on our eCampus page. Otherwise, let me show you a couple of other things that are going to be important. If you look at course home. Right now, course home is going to be important for you since this is an internet class. If you scroll down, you'll see there's a welcome. Here's some information on your book and what it should look like if it's not in that, if it's not in your virtual bookshelf, right? Practical Contract Law for Paralegals, that's the 4th edition. That's the one we're still using. But you're also going to see this direct links to recorded lectures, all right? I'm having a little trouble creating another widget. And so for right now, this is where these recorded lectures are going to live. Direct links to recorded lectures updated weekly. When you open it, for right now, it should look something like this. I'm going to try to record lectures every week, 2 per week normally. Sometimes there'll only be 1. Sometimes there may be 3. But this is where your recorded lectures will live. If you click on this right now, these links are not going to work. I'm trying to get them fixed and updated as quickly as possible, and each week we'll add to that list. But this is generally where the recordings for your lectures will live, okay? I will also try to include a link in the modules, but you should be able to find all of your recordings in this spot here, if I can figure out how to navigate all of this new Brightspace stuff. All right, so that is here in the Course Home tab, under direct links to recorded lectures updated weekly. This other stuff, don't worry about it. You'll see it's hidden. That probably doesn't show up when you view it. But this is under the Course Home, direct links to recorded lectures updated weekly. All right, so that's going to be very important for you for an internet-only class. Couple of other things. Other materials. There's some other resources here that we'll use throughout the semester, maybe like the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct. We'll talk a little bit about those. A sample memo format. I'll be honest with you, I don't really care what format you choose to use when you turn in written assignments. You need to make sure that it has your name on it, that it has this class, that it identifies the assignment, just in case that gets lost, and so that I can figure out who it belongs to. But I don't really care what format you use. If you have another format that one of your professors requires and you just love it, then fine, use that one. Okay, but I also know that lots of you don't like to just be left hanging, and so there is a sample memo format if you want to use that to turn in your written materials. Case brief handouts, when we get to those 2 briefs I talked about. There's a couple of handouts here that just may help you generally with this IRAC method we'll talk about in class, but you can find stuff there. If you are having trouble this week or next week getting access to your book, you can click here on What is Contract Law. This is just the first chapter of your book. It is not a good copy. but at least it's a scanned copy of the first chapter of the book, chapter 1. So if you are having trouble getting to your book, maybe this buys us a little extra time. And so if you're having trouble getting, that'll get us through at least the first 2 weeks of class. Okay, so sorry, that's here under other materials, things like that. There is a Clifford v. Trump confidential settlement agreement. We'll be using that at the end of the semester. That is the confidentiality agreement between Stephanie Clifford, aka Stormy Daniels, and Donald Trump. Why did I choose that one? Is it just because it's salacious and because I hate Trump or I want to start a bunch of stuff? No, not really. I chose that one for a couple of important reasons. Number one, because it's something you all will look at, right? Every one of you at some point is going to go, you know what? I think I want to see what that contract looks like, right? Number two, I hope by the end of the semester we can look at that contract. A contract that was drafted by lawyers who were charging, big time lawyers, charging $600, $1,000, $1,200 an hour. Multiple lawyers drafted this contract. And they billed tens of thousands of dollars to draft this contract. That was important, right? This was trying to keep a secret affair for a then candidate for the president of the United States secret. And I hope you will see that it is a steaming pile of crap. And at the end of this semester, I hope you'll see that if they had just had you as their paralegal, if they had just allowed you to look over that contract for just a few minutes, that even though they were charging thousands of dollars an hour, maybe you could have helped them draft a better contract. Okay. Anyway, that's things that are over here in this other materials tab. But then let me get to the last part. This is really where the meat of the semester is going to be. Besides finding your recorded lectures under course home, you'll see that the remainder of the semester is organized into modules. Module 1 through 4, I've tried to include the dates so that you don't have to go searching around, so that you'll know which module we're working in for each week. But coming up, obviously, we're going to be working on module 1. I told you have a quiz and a little memo due this week. Where would you find it? You're going to find it in module 1. And this is the way all the modules are set up. Each module has several weeks in it. So you'll see this one. We've got the first week, Intro to Course. Chapter 1 is next week, due on Saturday, January the 27th. So if you want to see what we're doing in chapter 1, that's there. Chapter 2, and so on. But let's look at the introduction week. If you click on Intro to Course, you're going to see a couple of things. First, you're going to see lecture notes, right? Lecture notes, I hope, are helpful for you. Every chapter I have provided you my lecture notes that I prepared myself. These are what I'm going to lecture from. They generally follow the book. But if these help you, then there they are. I want you to have them. And usually they're organized like this, right? This first page is actually from the introduction to your book. That'll be our next recording. It's pretty brief. And then often they have just a list of terms afterwards. These terms aren't defined. They're just for your benefit. If you can look through that list and you understand what each of those terms mean, then you're probably doing pretty well. If you look through that list and some of those terms you don't understand, you may need to go look them up. Okay, these are important terms from each chapter. Next week, we'll start on chapter 1. And chapter 1 is titled, What is a Contract? And you'll find the notes here for chapter 1. Again, a list of words. But again, you'll find these same lecture notes in chapter 1. Okay, so I try to provide you with my lecture notes for every chapter. Some of my students will print those out and bring them to class. Some of my students, if you use a OneNote, especially a great program, some of my students will dump those notes into OneNote and take notes directly on them. If they help you, fantastic. You've already got them for the entire semester. If they don't help you, well, then don't ever look at them again. I don't care. But read your book, okay? Read your book. That's important. Most weeks, you'll also find a PowerPoint. You may find more than one PowerPoint. You'll find my PowerPoint for each week. I don't have one for this week because we're trying to kind of learn how to navigate here on eCampus. But Generally, you'll have a PowerPoint each week that I'll use for the lecture. You can find that in this material too. Sometimes you'll find more than one. I have access to the PowerPoints prepared by other professors who have taught this class. If you find those more helpful, sometimes I've included those as well. You can look at those if they help you. Again, if they help you, great. If they don't help you, then don't ever look at them again. I don't care. Reading the book, viewing the lectures, doing your work, those will be the most important parts. But again, lecture notes, PowerPoints may be helpful. Next thing you'll see is an assignment box, right? Your assignments will generally tell you when things are due. Again, they're normally due at Saturday by midnight. They'll also tell you the format to please save your work in if you're submitting something, right? Save it with SP24, because this is the spring semester of 2024. Then with your last name and first name and an assignment name. All right. I know some of your professors are very strict on the way you name things that you turn in. I will be 100% honest with you. I don't really care. Okay. Because if you turn it in correctly and if everything works correctly, then honestly, I'm never even going to see the name of the file. All right. But here's why it matters. Number one, if things don't go right, if something gets screwed up and we have to look for it, we have to find it, or for instance, you didn't put your name on the assignment, I'm trying to figure out who even gets these points, then it's there in the file name, right? Number two, it helps you make sure that you're turning the right thing in the right spot, right? Or if you've turned the wrong thing in the wrong spot, it helps us go back and fix that, all right? Finally, it's just a good habit to get into. If you go to work at a legal office at some point, you will discover that there are a ton of files, and coming up with a systematic file naming format is important so that you don't lose things, right? Like, what if you think you turn something in week 2 and it never gets graded, and week 14 rolls around and you're still seeing a 0 there, and you're like, hey, I turned that in, prof. I'm going to say, okay, well, just send it to me again. Let me take a look at it. If you can look at the name and see it right there, Chapter 2 memo, then it'll be easy for you to find and turn in, but that's just a good habit to get into, okay? You will see you have a syllabus acknowledgement form assignment right here. That's going to be printing out a form, signing it, seeing if you can submit it. I know it sounds silly, but again, we're testing the system to make sure that it works for all of us. And then you'll see a course syllabus quiz. It's worth 10 points. Go ahead and pick up the free 10 points, right? Start this semester with an A+, and let's get things done. Each week, like next week, you'll see a very similar setup. Here's your learning materials. You've got lecture notes. I'm sorry, you've got a lecture right there right now that should be blanked out and not visible to you. But if I can get the recorded lecture to pop up there as well, then I'll try to do that. Otherwise, you'll have my lecture notes, my PowerPoint. You've got a handout, some hypothetical questions we may go over, those kind of things. And then you'll have your assignments. You've got a memo and a quiz for next week as well. Okay. So in a nutshell, that is our in a nutshell, that's our eCampus page. And spend some time getting to know it. Spend some time trying to figure out where things are and where your materials are. Make sure you can find those course notes. Make sure you can find your textbook. Make sure you can get to the assignments. Let's get those things turned in, okay? If you need any help at all, give me a call, shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I'll be happy to help you. Otherwise, I guess maybe let me go over one or two other things. Due dates. Again, your due dates for your assignments are almost always going to be on Saturday at midnight. Okay, what is the late policy? Late policy is if you turn it in even a minute late. If it's even a minute late, then I reserve the right to dock you 20% or not even grade it, right? Depending on if we've had problems before or what's going on, right? That's the official policy. What is my real policy? My real policy is that I try to get things graded on time, but I'm not always good at grading things on time as well. And it would be a little hypocritical of me to just throw your stuff out because you were 1 minute late if it then took me a week and a half to grade. Okay. I don't give you busy work just for the sake of doing it. I think every assignment I give you is a learning experience. And so I hope you will do them all. And I don't want you to skip learning from an assignment because you don't think it's going to be worth anything. Okay. I would much rather you do the assignment correctly and turn it in late than not do it at all. Okay. So, um, my advice to you is, practically speaking, if you go into a legal office, there are going to be times when you simply don't have enough hours in the day, enough days in the week to get all of the assignments you have done. You're going to need to learn to prioritize. And sometimes that means things are going to fall through the cracks, and you know it. Now, you have the syllabus. You can see every assignment you've got for this entire semester, and you can plan accordingly. If you want to work ahead and turn things in early, I certainly don't mind. I hope these lectures help. I think it would be best if you waited to view the lectures before you did the work, but if you can read the book and do the work on your own, you are welcome to do that. So if your sister has a wedding coming up in March and you want to go, then you can plan ahead of time, do the work ahead of time, and then go enjoy the wedding, right? You don't need to ask for permission to do that. But if you turn things in later, if you're going to be late, my advice is you're going to see that in your careers, right? And if you find out you're late, you didn't realize it was going to happen, the very best thing to do is to get it done. Get it done correctly and turned in, and then ask for forgiveness, okay? So turn it in. If you're late, turn it in. Do it correctly, get it turned in, and then you can make an excuse if you need to. Or just maybe give me a chance to grade it. I may not knock off anything at all. Okay, official policy, yes, the minute it's late, I can knock off points. But am I going to? I'm not telling you to test it. I'm certainly not telling you to plan on being late. But if it's a once in a while kind of thing, get it done right, get it turned in. There's a good chance that I don't knock any points off. All right. Again, working ahead, perfectly okay. If you want to, I hope that the lectures help, but if you can work ahead, if you need to work ahead, feel free. You will have 2 main tests this semester, a midterm and a final. They will both be online. They will both be untimed, and you'll have about 3 days to do both of them. Okay. We'll talk about those more when they come up. You won't be able to do those ahead of time. Those are going to open on Thursday. You'll have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to do them. You can pick when. Take all 3 days if you need to. But those won't open until the Thursday of the week that we're supposed to do them. Other than that, if you want to work ahead, you're free to. But again, if you're late, I encourage you to turn it in. I'm not encouraging you to be late, but if you're late, get it done right, get it turned in. Let me give you those points. All right. All right, that's all I got for right now. I've already talked too long. I think we're already 30 minutes in. So let me stop the recording here. I'm going to record a second lecture for this week, just on the introduction to your book. We're going to start out a little slow. There's no specific assignment on that, but it may give you a little foundation that way while people are adding and dropping classes. Nobody's falling too far behind, but we're not wasting time, and we're actually moving forward. You're learning a little bit about the law. Okay. All right. That's what I've got. I am excited for you all to be here. I'm sorry that we won't meet face to face, at least not regularly. But if you need anything at all, you give me a call, you send me an email, you shoot me a text. We can set up some time to help you with anything you need. Okay. Oh, finally, your assignments. I try, especially since this is an internet class and we can't meet face to face, I try to give you substantive feedback on every assignment you turn in. Okay, the quizzes, they're automatically graded, but any written assignment, I try to give you substantive feedback on. So when you get your grade back, take a look at the comments, even if you got 100%. Sometimes I grade kind of easy. If you got all the points right, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was all perfect, okay? And I do try to give some substantive comments on every single assignment that you turn in. So as you turn those in, take a look at the feedback. Let me know if you have trouble seeing it. Again, this is a new system. We're all working through it. So if you have trouble seeing the feedback, or you have trouble getting it, or any other kind of problems, if you see any problems with the deadlines on our assignments, that kind of thing, let me know. For instance, I found some assignments that it had just set the deadline was at like 6:59 p.m. That doesn't make any sense. They're all supposed to be due at midnight. But if you see those kind of things, let me know. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to a great semester. I'm looking forward to all of you really kind of mastering at least these basic concepts of contract law, and starting your legal careers off to a good start. Okay. All right. Give me a shout if you need anything. Otherwise, get ready for lecture 2. I'll try to have that up soon. Thanks.